becoming my co-host if he's not yet, Dr. Augustine Panchoo. Doc, good evening and welcome back.
Okay, thank you, Godfrey. I don't know, your song coming through to me tonight is a little muffled, so check it and see. I don't know if it's coming out that way to in the rest of the audio, but thank you for having me. This is the month of October is a really significant. Well, all the months are significant, but the world. The global perspective is that October has so many things going on. I mean, if you're in North America, then it's Halloween, it's candy time, and then we have the elderly getting a focus, children. The entire month of October is really child's month, as it were, and then mental health finds its place there also. So we're celebrating yesterday. 10/10 is almost always Mental Health Day for quite a number of years now. 10/10 is significant for that. So we get to celebrate and talk about, and I like the theme this year. This year is mental health and well-being, making it a global priority. So this is significant. I listened yesterday to the address by the Honorable Minister for Community Development, Gloria Thomas, and she echoed quite a number of things that are relevant. So we get to look at some of them tonight, and we get to, of course, entertain our audience as they often do, sending their questions for us to be able to make this session an interactive one. So thank you for having me. It's wet outside, so be careful out there when you're driving home. I am home right now.
The beauty of the internet.
Yes, I was out in all of the rain. In fact, heavy showers had me driving through St. David's just now. So I hope it is up for you when you're going when you're finished tonight and heading home.
Yeah, I'll do like Joshua. Yes, as the rain to stand still. In his case, it was the sun here last. But nevertheless, Doc, there was a media release put out by CARPHA yesterday, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, of course, under the theme mental health and well-being for all, a global priority. And I just want to share a small part of it with you and with our listeners before we get into the meat of the program. And it says there is no health without mental health. Mental illness can affect anyone, any gender, at any age. We as individuals need to be kind to ourselves. We need to find balance in our lives to reduce the risk of mental illness and achieve mental well-being. That includes identifying priorities, maintaining a good self-care routine, choosing a healthy lifestyle, positive thinking, practicing gratitude, building solid relationships, and mindfulness, or taking time to do something we enjoy. And when I read the release, that little paragraph there stayed with me because I thought it was so important. It was so bang on target, and I hope we can center a lot of our discussion this evening around what is written there. So to start, Doc, again, and we've touched on this subject before, the issue of mental health, and I'm sure you would agree with me, it's a subject matter that we cannot rest, because mental disorders, it is prevalent. Only recently, sometime this was over the weekend, we heard of what was believed to be suicide. I don't know, but when these things happen and we hear of these things, one of the first things that comes to mind is whether that individual was mentally sound, or if there was a problem, if there was some mental issues, that was plaguing that individual to cause them to get to that point. So let's just caption it: mental illness or mental health, Dr. Panchoo.
Yeah. Well, when we talk about mental health, we are looking at a holistic view of the person. Okay? So mental health would boil down to the reference of someone who is enjoying physical and emotional health, and where their behavior is consistent with the norms and rules and regulation. So if the person is physiologically well, they are psychologically well, and their behavior is congruent with society, it means in most cases that they are enjoying good mental health. Now, if the person is consistently violating the rules and norms of society, if they have difficulties in relationships, if they find difficulty or they experience difficulty in their jobs or the career, and if they're a student or pursuing educational advancement and they are struggling with it, these are some of the 4 areas we talk about it: education, career, family, community. If any of those are disrupted significantly, we start thinking that that person is not enjoying good mental health, or we sometimes are able to diagnose them and say that they have a mental illness. Okay. One of the things that the minister said yesterday, and I would be quick to correct it, she referred to people suffering with mental illness. And in the psychological world, we do not use that phraseology. We say no. It's just semantics. So it's not anything that is so outside of the scope of understanding. But we rather use the phrase that says living with a mental illness. Okay. You understand? Because there are. You see, here is the significant piece that we need to sort of embrace, is that there are many people, Godfrey, many high-functioning people in responsible position who are living with some kind of mental illness. The point here is that they probably have it well managed, and it is probably managed through therapy or medication. There are people who take medication for certain mental illness and they go to work, they are fine at work, they are fine in the career, they have career advancement, but they are suffering from some form of mental illness, as we say. So what we rather say, instead of saying suffering from, we say living with. Okay. And they can successfully live with a mental illness.
But not necessarily suffering.
Yes, and not necessarily suffering.
Right.
No, there are some people who are suffering. In other words, you look at someone with schizophrenia. Tonight I drove past and I stopped off at Wall Street, and there was one guy, a bottle in his hand, really wet, and feet on the no shoe on his feet, and he walked into the grill master, and then I saw the staff escorting him outside. Now, people like that, they are exposed. And so in some ways, they are probably suffering because their illness is not treated effectively. Okay. And so you feel for these people who are literally probably suffering. But there are many of us, myself included, that we manage. Yes, we manage through medication, we manage through meditation, we manage through family support system, we manage through friendships, our mental health challenges, and we live really comfortably. Yes.
Right. Excellent. Now, let's talk about finding that balance, which is so very important, because when you find balance in your lives, it reduces the risk of mental illness and helps you to achieve that mental well-being. How then, Dr. Panchoo, do we find that balance in our lives so that we can, achieve mental well-being? Because with mental well-being comes so much positives. Let's talk about that a bit.
Right. So let us not be naive, Godfrey. Let us remember that as life goes on, we are faced with the challenges of life. Really and truly, we call them the challenges of life, and they are challenges because sometimes we do not impose them on ourselves. Okay, so take for example disappointment. Someone, you go to work and somebody says something to you, somebody is missing, one promised to do something or to complete a task, and it's not done, so you are disappointed. Okay. Some people are embarrassed or ridiculed. You leave home and you're maybe in a high spirit, or maybe not so much of a high spirit, really struggling, and someone may say something unkind or really nasty towards you. And then, so we live in a world where we face the challenges of life every day. Disappointments, broken relationships, broken promises, a bad letter written on you by your boss, you know what I mean? Or God forbid, Godfrey, termination from employment, which is one of the trending things right now. So there are many little things that we face, and so you ask, how do we strike a balance? Well, here it is. Partly, I don't know that one session we can provide all of the answers, but there are things that people can do, and Kafa really did outline a few of them, and then I think later on we'll get to talk about them in a little more detail. But there are certain things that we can do for ourselves, to things like positive thinking, Godfrey. It's one of the things that come easy for some people, easier, I should say, for some people than for others. Because we find that, you hear people say, well, keep it positive. Well, yeah, but when you're burdened, okay, think, Godfrey, of the parent. I mean, we grew up together, more or less, and our parents they were not affluent, they barely got by. And there were times when I know, we parents didn't have a whole lot to give to us, whether it was to go to school or maybe to go to a function. And can you imagine the burden parents feel when they can't provide all of this stuff for the children? That kind of it's a burden on them. So we tell people, keep it positive. Yes, people, that's a good way of saying. But then you look at the reality when other people can provide a little more than our parents or us ourselves, now that we are parent ourselves, right? How embarrassing sometimes it can be, and burdensome. So part of when we ask people to strike a balance should be do they have enough resources? And I'm not talking here about money necessarily, right. That too, but do they have the resources, the wherewithal, the creativity to navigate? You understand? Because let me tell you something. When Carver says there is no health in the absence of mental health, this is a truism. That is a fact about life, because we could be physiologically sound, but if the emotions is not well, then the body is not well.
Right.
Okay. So one of the things that we try to do to strike that balance, Godfrey, is to think positive things. Then also try not to bite more than we can chew.
Right.
And that's an adage that simply means in whatever we do, be moderate with what we do. I mean, if you can't afford a 3-bedroom house, it's okay to take a loan for a 2-bedroom. You know, let the neighbor, let who could afford it, build a 3-bedroom. If it's a 2-bedroom that you can build, because you see, sometimes we try to, and Godfrey, don't get me wrong, I believe in upward mobility, and I believe in striving and working hard in this life for the things that you have, okay? And it's okay to aim big, right? Aim big, strive for success and strive for excellence. But there are times when you know that this is what you can manage. And when you try to take a little more than you can manage, what you don't know is that you're putting stress on the mind. That's why some people really can't sleep. There are people, Godfrey, who have a nice car, and I know, I'm not talking from hearsay, and a nice house, and Godfrey, when you look into the refrigerator, it's empty.
No, of course.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's empty because all of the bills are going to pay for the car and for the house. So they look okay. The shell looks good, but the inside is dying. Okay? So what I'm saying here tonight to us, including yourself and me, is to be temperate in what we do, and take bites that we can manage, because the more we can manage, and that's the truth here, Godfrey, you will like this one. The more we can manage in our life is the happier
we will.
And we will be. Yes.
You know, Doc, something just crossed my mind. And you mentioned earlier, you know, it's okay to aim big. It's okay to strive for excellence. Maybe sometimes as individuals, we need to put excellence into context in relation to ourselves. It doesn't mean because, let's say, Dr. Panchoo drives a D-Max, that is excellence. But I drive a Swift. Who says that me driving a Swift is an excellence? It is excellent.
Yeah. It is excellent.
You see, sometimes I think what we do as individuals that create problems for us, we measure excellence not based on our ability, but on someone else's ability.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is, you don't know how distressing, Godfrey, it can be for someone, because remember, we're talking mental health tonight. So we just don't know how stressful and distressing it is for someone who can't pay their bills because they attempted too big a project.
That's right.
I mean, we see that in government. We see that in houses that are unfinished. You understand? And people literally work themselves to death so that they can achieve, so that they can look good. And so maybe part of the teaching that we teach young people and families in Grenada and elsewhere too, is how to manage their affairs. Take bites that you can manage so you are less stressed. And the less stress you have is the more emotionally happy it will be. Yes, it does make sense. So how do we manage? We take bites that we can manage. We think positive things. Godfrey, there is another one that says, surround ourselves with positive, happy people. There are some relationships that are toxic.
Oh, yes.
And we don't know that it is toxic. Okay, and I'm going to just pause here for that to sink in. Relationships, sometimes we get addicted to relationships, even those that are toxic for our well-being. And then when we leave, we are so disgruntled, so unfulfilled in a relationship, and we keep asking ourselves, but why am I going back? And then you go back again, and you are creating some stress for yourself, lots of stress, and it's not good. It's really not good. So Godfrey, there are several things that really and truly that we can do to strike a balance and to help create for ourselves. I think there are lots of situations, and I haven't studied it to give a figure, but there are lots of situations in which people create their own discomfort and emotionally charged activities on their own. They just create it, you see the signs, you know what the outcome is going to be, yet for all you go straight into it, and that's not going to help you. It's not going to help you.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Excellent. Achieve it well. There's another one that they made mention to. One, identifying priorities. You should be able to identify your priorities rather than just being all over the place.
Yes, and let me tell you this one. Priorities in terms of also when we list our priorities in life, we must also list how it is that we are going to achieve them. You understand? Because we could have a priority and we have no idea how this is going to be achieved. Now think of the stress that this is already causing. Okay? And what I mean here is that you may not have all the money. Okay, let's say you remember when you wanted to buy your suite? You didn't have all the money, but in your mind, there were a few things that were going for you. So let's list them. One, you were young and you had a job. Right? So I mean, you were not retired and don't have a source of income. So you are young, that's one. Secondly, you had a job. Thirdly, maybe you had your eyes on a financial institution that you have done business with already, or you can do business with, whether it's a credit union or the bank, or maybe your rich father, right? So in this way, already even though you don't have access to the money already, but you know how it is that you are going to get it.
Yeah.
Okay? So you can say to the guy, go ahead and order my Swift, and when it comes by then, I will have the money to pay you. Here it is. But there are times when people, they see something, they have a dream, and it's good to dream, but then they have no way of fulfilling those dreams, and they become.
In other words, they didn't realize they're going to wake up.
Right, they didn't realize that they were going to wake up. So when we talk about setting, when we talk about setting priorities, we simply mean, okay, make a list of the things that you want to achieve in life. Okay, and maybe you might want to start at the top, or maybe you want to start at the bottom. It doesn't matter where you start, in the middle or anywhere you want to start, but you have to take it bit by bit. In other words, prioritize. If this is not important right now, okay, let me show you something. And I laugh, Godfrey. Simple as this is. Let me show you this. So here is this person. So I can't call names, so I'll tell you what the story is. Here is a person who doesn't have a job, has limited funds, right? And it's his birthday. And you ask him, what would you like for your birthday? Okay. Well, I want a necklace. Okay. Well, how much for the necklace? $150. Okay. And I'm just putting a price.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's a little more expensive too if you want a good one, a size one. All right. Okay. So you would rather, for your birthday, wear a $100 or $200 necklace, and you have absolutely no food in your house, right? Or they're about to cut your water bill. You could have asked and say, okay, my water bill is $70 or $100. Can you pay my water bill? In that way, you have water at least to drink and to take a shower. You understand? That's what priority means. So in a sense, people ask for things. I want a cell phone. Yeah, okay. So you're 15, you have no job. Nobody's going to call you. Trust me, no one is calling you, all right? So you could go to bed and sleep at night. So you're 15, 16, and you have no job, but you want an iPhone. Well, an iPhone is $2,000, right? So if I give you an iPhone, it means that I can't buy your school books. And so that's how we teach people about priority. Because unless we learn how to prioritize, we are going to fall victim of the immediate gratification from things. And it's okay if we have enough disposable income to get things. All right? We like gadgets. But if you have zero disposable income and your life depends on it, things become less important. They go down on the priority list. What comes first in the priority list? Okay, put a lock on my door. Can you buy a $50 lock? Because my door, I'm tying it with a string in the night. I mean, come on. So you have a nice chain, but you have a string in your door. Okay, does that mean that you're prioritizing? No, you are not. And so it comes back now with the stress, because you're going to have a nice chain and you have a string on your door, and you can't sleep at night because you're wondering if Godfrey is going to come and steal your chain because you don't have a lock on your door.
Exactly.
Listen, mental health, Godfrey, is the simple things of life that gives us the peace of mind. And if we don't have the peace of mind, we are going to be troubled. And when we are troubled, the body has a way of responding to the trouble and the discomfort and the unfulfilled dreams that we have. And we give ourselves stress before you know it.
Of course, stress is such a killer.
Yes, and Godfrey, before you know it, you are in a spiral of major depression. You understand? So you're sad, and then you start compounding it with little things. Then you're sad about this, you're sad about that. Then comes maybe a death in the family, or a divorce, or a separation, or a disappointment from your children, whatever it is, and it compounds and piles up. And before you know it, you have spiraled into something that looks like clinical depression. And you have no way of coming out unless you get help. And that is what I think when we talk today or yesterday about mental health, and we introduced the topic, Godfrey introduced the topic about global health and wellness, for the whole world, without mental health, there is no health. And that is such a powerful phrase to add to the mix. Yeah.
It is. Just before we go to the break, I wanted to take this other one.
Okay.
Maintaining a good self-care routine, Dr. Panchoo.
Oh boy. Let's take about 3 or 4 minutes on that one.
Yes.
Because that one is a very powerful reminder. Self-care. Self-care, let's start from the basics. Self-care includes taking care of your physical body. So whether it is showers, dental hygiene, trimming your nails, all those basic things, these are important. But I want to stress one aspect of taking care of self. And I'm going to make mention of a post today. And that is, Godfrey, what we eat.
Yeah. Well, actually, I intended to tie them in, but we're there. So we're going.
Okay, so let's go there.
Yes, we're going.
What you eat is really a self-care statement.
It is.
People miss it, and I think I listen also to the Minister for Health, these days, and he is sounding very intellectual, lots of big words and lots of phraseology, but the crux of the matter is that we have to start taking more responsibility for our overall health and start with our physical health, because the less care we take of the physical body is the more expensive it becomes for the government to provide appropriate health care. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it again.
Of course.
Because when you look, if you ask the people who are caring for many of the patients who need dialysis and diabetes and losing and amputations, etc., these are people who could have done a little better or maybe way better with their diet, what they take into the body, the self-care that they gave to themselves. If they ate less of a certain food, if they ate more of a certain food, if they abstained more from a certain food, if they drank a little more water, instead of soda, if they, you understand, if they did a little more exercise instead of the sedentary lifestyle, if they did a little more of something, they could have end up enjoying better health. Mm-hmm. And so when we talk, Godfrey, about taking care of self, we talk about, it's not just making sure that your toenails are clipped, etc. It is, what do you eat? And so before we take the break, let me show you this. So today I was smiling because I saw a school friend posted. He said that he saw someone exercising, and when he, they look really young, and when he, inquired, the person was 85 years old. Mm-hmm. So he was so inspired that he posted on Facebook that he wished that when he turns 85, he could look as well. And I said to him, the question you should ask about being 85 and still able to do all this exercise and look so young should be two. One, get an idea about his genetics. Mm-hmm. What does did his parents live for long, or did they die early? Were there any significant non-communicable disease in his family? And the second thing is to ask him, what did he eat and drink?
Yes.
I tell you, see, you may say, okay, when you see people, 75, and you in your little 40, 50 years old, and you say, I want to be able to do that. Yes, but ask them, what did they put in their body?
Because it starts now. It actually starts now.
That caused them to be able to do that. And so the person responded and said, no, you don't ask. He just wants to know that pray that when he reaches that age. I said, well, in my mind, I just laughed. I didn't even respond again because it was such a non-educated statement, because you don't just get up at 85
it doesn't work
and
that way.
Look that good. You don't.
It doesn't work that way.
There has to be good genetics, or there have to be some reason. Maybe it's your diet. Maybe it's the things that you didn't do. How much sleep you get. And Godfrey, that's another one. Self-care. That's the last thing I want to say on self-care. People underestimate the amount of sleep that the body needs. Let me say this to us and remind us that when you talk about sleep, that's where the body heals itself.
Yeah,
that's
right.
where growth takes place. So the more you sleep, the more you sleep is the more your body grows, and you afford the body time to heal. Because during the day, when we are up and about, whether it's a mason, laying blocks, or running, an athlete, and you were a great athlete in your teenage years, when you tear all these muscles and you run and you sweat and you have all this pain, and you take a shower and you go to bed at night, that's when the body
gives the body a chance to regenerate.
Yes,
right.
and so if you don't get enough sleep, you threaten your physical body as well as your emotional wellness. Yes.
Hence the reason for maintaining a good self-care routine. Folks, we'll take a short break. When we come back, we talk more about mental wellness. Stay with us.
Cancer. Believe in our strength. We'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give. It's so glad to see peace of mind. That's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now. We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carrico. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
Here is a little known fact. There is only one place in Grenada that you can get an MRI scan done. That place is Spicile Imaging Center. Yes, Grenada, that's the truth. Other centers could offer you other scans, but Spicile Imaging provides an authentic MRI scan. Here's another little known fact. Spicile Imaging has 3 centers. We operate at Grenville, the Carnage, and at the Ocean House, Grand Anse. We provide the widest range of laboratory tests and services. CT scans, x-rays, mammograms, ultrasounds, and a host of other services. We are fully staffed by a team of family doctors and specialists. Call us today at 444-7679. or 406-1500, or visit any of our 3 locations. Spicile Imaging, from seeing the doctor to getting lab tests, scans, and pharmacy services. We are here to take care of you.
Drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Doctor and Call, and this evening we're looking at mental health. Yesterday was Mental Health Day, World Mental Health Day, and so it's only fitting that we, pay some very, very close attention to our mental well-being. It's very, very important. According to CAFA, there is no health without mental health. And we continue in a little bit. We'll open our telephone lines. We'll take your calls. Also, our viewers on Facebook, if you have any questions, you can post your questions on our Facebook page, and of course we will address them. Also, the WhatsApp number is 435-2041. Please, no WhatsApp calls. We cannot accommodate WhatsApp calls, but you can send us a WhatsApp message and we're able to relate to Dr. Panchoo, and so you can get your feedback. All right, Doc, so we're continuing.
Yes.
Choosing a healthy lifestyle. We spoke a little bit about what we eat, but of course a healthy lifestyle goes beyond that. So let's talk a bit about that.
So let me introduce a philosophy about healthy lifestyle. A healthy lifestyle is a lifestyle that is encouraged or fostered by some of the following, and let's make a little list of some of the things that may lend itself to a healthy lifestyle. One, rest. Okay, and we have talked about it already, about enough sleep. Now, when you are younger, babies, they tell us need between 15 to 20 hours of sleep. Yeah, a newborn, would thrive best if he has 20 hours, 4 hours of awakeness with you. As they grow older, the need for sleep is significantly reduced. But a teenager will literally sleep for 12 hours. A teenager needs as a growing body and mind. So the first thing in terms of self-care, optimum health, is rest, right? And so we get enough rest. When we were in preschool, Godfrey, I don't know if you remember your preschool days or your infant, what we call, the kindergarten years,
Dr. Panchoo, let's say it as it is. When we was in ABC.
In ABC. Oh gosh. You're taking me to the Friday program, how you guys say the thing, right? So when we were in ABC.
That's right.
Godfrey, no, for the life of me, I did not remember that, the ABC. Yeah, seriously. You with this week out here thing, you and Scholar and Livingston. So really and truly, when we were in ABC, we would do a little writing and go out and play. Mm-hmm. Then we come back, we do a little writing, or we play, and then lunchtime, and after lunch we take a nap.
Rest time, yes.
Rest time, if you understand. Mm-hmm. That is significant. And so people who feel tired.
Actually, it still happens, huh?
Yes.
Especially in the preschools, I know it does happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It has to happen because that's how so the first thing is to rest. Then the next thing is water. Godfrey? 75 to 80% of the body mass is really water. You know that. Even if you crunch up your bones, is a significant amount of liquid that's in the bones, right? So 75 to 80% of body weight, they say, is water. It therefore means that as a machine, the body is a machine that depends upon water for the cells to function.
That's right.
And to avoid things like dehydration and cracked lips and scaly skins, drink a lot of water. Stay away from the sweetened kind of fluids and drink pure water. And whether it's rainwater, Godfrey, we used to drink a lot of rainwater. We have a little tub behind the house, and when the rain falls, it fills up. We drink that, man. We drink. And we're not boiling anything,
No. In those days,
we never got sick.
No, you don't boil.
Man, look at we turning this program into a culture program, a Friday good program. That's what you guys should talk about. So rest, water, and diet, the food. The foods that we eat, Godfrey. Mm-hmm. Here's what the research say. The research does not lie when it talks about the infiltration in our diet of a lot of fried things, and now the barbecue, which is the charred and burnt. And I don't know, research is still being going on the effects of, all the oils from the meat that is burnt up, and
the carbon, but it's not good. The carbon is not good at all.
It tastes good, but it's not good, really and truly. And we are not talking here about not eating meat. That is outside the point. I'm just saying the things how we fry them. And look, Country Code couldn't bring, and you used to work there. Country Code can't bring enough chicken wings to serve Grenada, even though they bring thousands of boxes every month, because we are consummate people who just eat up a lot of fried chicken. Okay, and so we have to watch the diet, because the diet is, sometimes in our genetics we already picked up things in the chromosomes. Godfrey, you did biology. That will make us obese. In other words, we take things from our great grandparents and our grandparents and our parents in the chromosomes, okay, and we become vulnerable to diabetes and hypertension and obesity. And if we're not careful what we eat, we're just creating this rich environment. This rich environment for diabetes and all kinds of stuff to just pounce upon us. So the diet really, really becomes important. And I believe, Godfrey, with all my heart, there are certain foods that we shouldn't eat. I mean, for health reasons, not religion. For health reasons, there are certain foods that we need to be careful we consume it. So we talk about resting, we talk about water, we talk about the diet and the foods that we eat, and Godfrey, then let's go to relationships.
That's right.
Okay.
But before we get there, I want to just talk about behaviors, because I think a lot of times we don't realize how behaviors can seriously affect our lifestyle.
Yes, Godfrey. The choice of things that we do.
That's right. Promiscuity and all of that.
Yes, the choice of things that we choose to engage in. Whether it's risky behaviors, I mean, I'm talking about things like drugs and illicit substances.
That's right.
It's not just about the body then, but it's also the behavior that's associated. Because some of these behaviors can lead to addiction to food, addiction to sex, addiction to other substances. Right.
We can end up in accidents, we can become debilitated, we can't help ourselves and everything. You know, Doc, it is so amazing. With everything that has been said, it takes you right back to how it can affect you mentally, because when the problems arise, it leads to stress. And of course, once we're talking stress, we're talking mental problems here.
Yes, absolutely. I pray that through these programs and through the advocacy of other people like myself, that people will start getting the message about the close relationship between behaviors and the physical health and
the mental health,
psychological and mental wellness. You know, when we start seeing it and saying, you know what, boy, I am in this toxic relationship, in this abusive, intimate partner violence. It's not good for my children. It's not good for me also. So I need to create a pathway to get out of this thing, because it's going to drive people crazy or to do something silly. But yes, Godfrey, behaviors, the things that we choose to do, the activities that we choose to engage in freely, these are really great things for us to remember, that they affect ultimately the way we perceive life and how life treats us. So we talk about water, we talk about rest, we talk about diet, we talk about behaviors, and let's go now to what I want to talk about is relationships.
That's right. Building solid relationships.
Yes, we slightly hinted it already, so let's expand it a little. Relationships. Strive always, Godfrey, to be honest, fair, loving, empathetic towards people.
That's right.
If there is one virtue in life that I think the 7 billion people that are on earth should try and aim for is to be kind and to put yourself always in the experience, or as we say, in the shoes of another person. Judge less. Stop, or avoid thinking that you are better off or in a better position because you didn't do what he or she did. Okay? Any one of us could be in this vulnerable position. Yep. So when we talk about relationship, we are talking about, as you go about your daily life, are you helping to create an environment of richness, forgiveness, inclusiveness, or inclusion of other people in your plans for the day? Or is it just about Godfrey?
Are you practicing gratitude?
Are you practicing gratitude? People do things for you. And we, boy, I tell you something, Grenadians, well, it's not the Grenadians, the Godfrey, it's people on a whole. The phrase thank you is hard to come by. I mean, you could give your literal life away. I mean, if you were able to take your life and put it in somebody else who were dying, and they'll wake up and they won't be in a position to say thank you, because it's a dying kind of a virtue of life. And I call it a virtue because really and truly, to be kind, to be thoughtful, to say thank you, to show gratitude is a virtue that we should have for ourselves and that we should teach our children to have, so that the world could be a less stressful world. Okay? Yes. Are we taking a break?
Yes, so we're gonna take the final break. Right. And after the break, I have one more that I want to run by you, and then we'll open our telephone lines because it's already going, and we're going to invite our callers to with their questions. So we take our final break, folks, and we'll be back with you in just a moment.
Mm-hmm. Drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
When you need your prescription filled or you require non-prescribed medication, supplements, or all your personal needs, visit Gittins Healthcare at locations on Wall Street, Grandans, Victoria Street, Granville, and Central Deputy Street, Guelph. Gittins Healthcare aims to provide an exceptional personalized pharmacy experience. Additionally, children under 5 and adults 55 years and over will enjoy 10% discount on purchases of $20 and over on prescription medication. Stop settling for less. Visit Gittins Healthcare, where your health is our priority.
If there was ever a time to keep and stay healthy, it's now. We at Hills and Valley are here to help you take deliberate steps to maintain your health. We stayed true to maintaining the most comprehensive rates while stocking the widest range of medicines and health devices, including personal protective equipment. There are so many benefits shopping with us. You get great savings through discounts for senior citizens and reward cards for loyal customers. Ask about owning yours today. Visit us at Halifax and Grenville Street, St. George, Jubilee Street opposite the Grenville Bus Terminal, and at Hillsborough, Carriacou. Our wholesale distribution on Halifax Street also stocks the widest range of pharmaceuticals. We are with you on the hills and in the valleys. We are Hills and Valley Pharmacy.
When a loved one passes on, we all need the comfort, support, and guidance of a trusted friend. You can rely on LaCour Brothers Funeral Home. We provide a personalized professional service that exceeds all expectations. Our dedicated staff responds to your every need with the greatest detail, ensuring affordability with a variety of options. Our upgraded state-of-the-art facilities, spacious air-conditioned chapel with live internet streaming, a modern, environmentally safe crematorium, the only of its kind on island, private viewing spaces, large on-site repast center, a modern transportation fleet. Join our burial society today and make personalized arrangements for that final moment as you prepare to enter your loved one into eternal rest. Visit or call LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and select a package that brings added comfort to the entire family. LaCour Brothers Funeral Home and Burial Society, continuing a tradition of excellence.
drug abuse, cancer,
measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Doctor and Call. So, Dr. Panchoo, I have one more that I want us to touch on, and then we'll go to our telephone lines and take some questions. So, the final one, we've looked at as part of finding balance in our lives to reduce the risk of mental illness. We've identified priorities. We spoke about maintaining good self-care routine, choosing a healthy lifestyle, positive thinking, we spoke of that earlier, practicing gratitude, building solid relationships, and the final one, taking time to do things that we enjoy.
Yes.
How important is that as it relates to our mental well-being?
Well, I tell you, when we leave work, we need a place and or an activity to help us de-stress. Mm-hmm. And that's where things like hobby comes in, okay? I love gardening. And so that's people don't understand. I love putting my fingers in the dirt. I mean, that has always been my thing. And so everywhere I go, I mean, I plant. I always plant. You know, I live in California too, mm-hmm. and I have a lot of fruit trees that I dug enormous holes and just plant, and they are producing even here. So that's my way of de-stressing. Some people plant flowers, and they love, trimming and pruning their flowers and walking among the flowers, enjoying it, whether it's roses or lilies or chrysanthemums, whatever it is, and they smell that and they look at the birds that come there. Some people look at crochet. There was a time, Godfrey, when every girl in the village was just
everybody was crocheting
the street.
Everybody was crocheting,
needle, man, and they were just, and those were really, really great days. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, a lot of people spend time on their phones, and some people really make quality use of their phones through research and reading and listening to music, and that's another thing. So you de-stress by listening to a lot of music. Many people engage in activities like baking and sewing and other stuff. And Godfrey, a good way I teach people to do that is to journal or to write.
Yes.
Write your life story. So you sit down and you engage in writing, going on the beach, exercising. A lot of people. I love to see. Philomena Robertson.
Oh yes,
she's an inspiration. I was driving through Grandlands yesterday evening, and early evening, in the heat of the sun, man, she's running down on the sidewalk in Grandlands. So some people they de-stress by doing a lot of these things. So if you find, a word of advice to our listeners, if you find that you're getting a lot of headaches and that you're stressed out all the time, maybe it's time for you to engage in a hobby, something that will help you to take your mind off the world and engage. I know, one of my friends, she does cupcakes, and she has a job, but then on weekends and on evenings, she goes and she makes this beautiful, tasty, sumptuous looking cupcakes. And, and so look for something that you will enjoy and engage in it so that it could help you de-stress.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's very important. And there are lots of things. There are lots of things that people can do.
Lots. I mean, we can make an endless list.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Definitely, definitely. So, folks, our telephone line is open. The number is 435-2041. You can give us a call if you have any questions. We'll be more than happy to try to provide answers. Let's go to our telephone. Doctor and Call, good evening.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Good afternoon, Dr. Panchoo.
Hello, hi.
How you do?
I am doing great, and you?
I'm fine.
Okay,
fine.
Beautiful.
I want to ask you what I does use in the morning time. I does use the ginger and the turmeric, that is the saffron, only in the morning. I use that. I just take it every 8 days. And that does help me take out all the thing in the joints and everything. And Dr. Panchoo, I does put magnesia blocks in my water to drink. And I could do that and drink it?
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's a cooling for the system.
Yes.
And yes. And
because my grandmother used to put that in water for me. She put it in a mug of water, and every minute she give me a glass, and that's what I does drink.
Yes.
And
beautiful.
Dr. Panchoo, I does do some crochet.
Okay. Yeah. How old are you?
75 years.
Ah, beautiful. Well, you're a young woman, 75. Yes, but that's beautiful. Yes. So you do crocheting for?
Yes, I do crochet. Sometimes I do puzzles.
Yes.
Yeah, the puzzles will help you. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
it does.
So you, doctor, have a nice evening. God bless you and love you, doctor. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
You
All the
too.
best.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Take care.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Yes.
Right, the number 435-2041. So there we have someone who's involved in little things, the crocheting, and so to help them to keep their mental state in order and to keep things going, and that's wonderful. Let's go back to the telephone. Doctor and call. Good evening. Hello.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen.
Yes, good evening, caller.
How are you guys doing?
Very good.
You know, an interesting fact I found out recently in a documentary that the people of Bhutan measure their life, whereas in the Western world they measure people's life and livelihood and happiness through gross national product in terms of money.
Yeah.
So that if, for example, Grenada is a billion dollar country and we have only 1,000 people to share that $1 billion in the gross national product, we think that we are happy, we are rich, and everything is fine.
Yeah.
But in Bhutan, the government measures the people's life by gross national happiness. And I thought that was a very interesting way of defining life.
Very good. Very
gross
good.
national happiness. So that as far as they are concerned, if everyone in the country is happy, we are prosperous.
Yeah.
So the more happiness you find is the more prosperity in their mentality, or from their perspective. I think it's very interesting that people should at least take that as a side note.
Thank you, caller. Yes.
Thank you. And Godfrey, let me say this here as an addendum to this caller. There is, as a psychologist, one of the tests that I do is called the quality of life, the QOL. And I am able to give you, Godfrey, a test to so that you can self-report on your quality, and then I'll get, plot it and get the data and organize it and help you to determine whether or not you have, or you in your mind, whether you are enjoying a good quality of life, and
lovely.
So that's a very interesting segue. Longevity and quality of life can be more important than maybe the actual GDP in terms of cash, because
that's right.
If you seek, Godfrey, operation, people have to travel or medical equipment and or pharmaceuticals, they are so expensive to come by. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Let's go back to the telephone. And Doctor and call, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Quite an interesting topic.
Thank you.
Right. Two matters. Now, my mother is 92. She did not get there by accident.
Okay.
She uses a different herb, a different bush every day for her tea. including the different spices. She sleeps on time. She doesn't use alcohol. She doesn't smoke. All contributing factors to her longevity. That's one.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah, no mistake there. Secondly, we have in Grenada an eye clinic that goes on as an emergency service for the citizens. So if you have an accident during the night with your eye, you can get attention at the hospital. We have the casualty department, which you can attend the hospital and get some sort of treatment 24/7. But we have no mental facility that you can access 24/7. There is something wrong there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah.
And I am wondering, before you go, Dr. Panchoo, I'm wondering, because this is very interesting. I'm wondering now, so the fact that he mentions we don't have a clinic for that, it is sad because we have people who can attend to someone if they have such a problem in the night. But lo and behold, that doesn't seem to be a priority. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah. And the caller is right. I mean, because generally what is advised for people with psychological or mental health challenge in the night, and of course remember that for mental illness, it's about the brain, and the brain is an organ, and so it can fail you in the middle of the night also. So people with an attack, an emergency attack, goes to the emergency room, and very often, Godfrey, there is no one with psychological understanding. I mean, a medical doctor, is not trained to do any psychological work. I mean, there are some who have done a little psychiatry, or, undergrad, you do, developmental psychology, but that's basically it. You're not focused on treating someone with a crisis at the time, and so you go there. You have to wait for an evaluation. Maybe there is a psychiatrist on call that come see you, and then if you are not stable, they'll probably admit you to Mungay. But there is not a facility really and truly, because Mungay is to house people who are deemed or diagnosed with mental illness. It's not for people who are experiencing crisis. And so he's right. There is not a facility that you can go and say, you know what, my mom is just get up in the night and she's having a panic attack and I need to take her. I mean, when you tell them, or you tell your mom, I'm taking you to Mungay,
that in itself,
that in itself is not, because this is not the place for her. Maybe she might end there for treatment if things escalate or deteriorate. But at the time having a crisis, you need a safe place and qualified people, and we don't have
definitely
that. Yes.
Well, we have it. But let's go back to the telephone. Doctor on call, good evening.
Hello, night. I'm calling about a problem with a mental man. Is his name? Culture. You have a makuku, and I was wondering if, they call him makuku, that he does be walking around town, having a dress right, and he has been in mental institution so many times, and they're not doing anything about it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I could tell you, and I can't speak for why it is not addressed, but maybe it has been. The thing about it, Godfrey and caller, thank you for sharing that. You are not, as a medical professional, you're not able to do an invasive operation on anyone, even the mentally ill, without consent. And so if the person says no, or if you can't locate a family who probably has guardianship over the person, then you just can't just do it because you think in your mind that the person doesn't have the mental capacity to agree, And so even with the mentally ill, in the way we treat or how the laws allow us to treat that person, you still have to go through the regular protocol of getting consent and authorization to treat that person. But that's a good thing. I don't know the person that you're talking about, but maybe if some medical person or social workers, generally people who go to or treated in Mungay, they have a social worker that follows with them, ensure that they get the medication, ensure that they come to the clinic to get, to see the psychiatrist, etc., etc. So maybe that's an observation that one of them need to follow up with and see how best we can help this young man.
Thank you, caller. Thanks a lot. Yes. All right, 435-2041. That's the number you can call, and you can ask your questions or share your contribution. Let's go back to the telephone. Dr. and Cole, good evening.
Hello, good afternoon, gentlemen.
Yes, good evening, caller.
Yes. I love the program. It's a very healthy program, and my contribution is that a person is supposed to have a healthy mind in order to have a healthy body. And when I look at the shelves in the supermarkets and other places, I can see there's a lot of artificial food on the shelves and hardly any local food in that places. So I would advise Brazilians, we are accustomed to eating our food that is healthy. Let us do that for the benefit of our body. Because the alcohol will have no substance in that. The artificial thing doesn't have no substance in it. This is what happens. If a man drink a green drink, he doesn't urinate green. All this going to stay in his body and form some kind of cancer or whatever in the system. I'm advising now that the pipe water is not healthy to drink. One, the chlorine is in it. It also causes problem in the bones, which is called arthritis. And when we continue to drink it, we become unhealthy. So I'm advising the people, try the best to drink alkaline water. If you get the gel water, it's better. You bring electricity back in the brain, and you will have a healthy mind, and you will live a long life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much indeed for your contribution.
Yeah. On the trajectory that we are discussing tonight, that's a really good contribution. Thank you, caller.
Well,
for sharing that.
It fits in very well with the whole idea of healthy lifestyle and having a proper health routine. How you look after yourself and take care of yourself. So definitely so. 435-2041. That's the number you can call, folks, and you can definitely get to ask your question or make your contribution. Doc, while we wait on the other callers, there's a little bit I want to share with you again. It's a little bit of statistics which I think is important that people need to pay attention to. So it says mental health, neurological and substance use disorders are a significant cause of disability globally. Mm-hmm. In the Americas, these conditions account for about 20% of the total disability burden. They are surpassed only by non-communicable chronic diseases such as cardiovascular disease and diabetes. And of course, when we talk about cardiovascular, having to do with the heart, stroke, and things like that. Mm-hmm. All right. And that accounts for 60% of the total disability burden in the Americas. Now, here is what is important and what I want to get home. Among the top 20 countries in the Americas are several Caribbean countries that experience the highest mental health burden. The rising prevalence of mental health conditions in the Caribbean region is a serious public health concern. And folks, just so that you know, this release came from the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CARFA. So I just read a part of the release. Actually, it was the opening of the release that they had put out yesterday to mark World Mental Health Day. Dr. Panchoo, this is concerning.
Let me tell you this here. You know, I can't recall whether it was a scientific study, but I think I saw something that suggests that Grenadian, probably in terms of the Eastern Caribbean, topped the list of alcohol consumption.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I don't know where that figure came from, so I can't use it and quote it.
It was that. In fact, that made news. And what was also very concerning as part of that, the consumption of alcohol and they specifically mentioned hard alcohol. The percentage was higher among our females.
Yeah. Wow. Yep. Yeah. And you know, I probably missed that piece, but you know, to rank among the first and second position in the Eastern Caribbean, when you think of all the countries of the OECS and all the CARICOM countries, and you rank, number 1 and number 2, that is very significant. And so that takes us back now to what CARFA is saying. There is a reason why people consume alcohol, Godfrey. Mm-hmm. People want to drown. They want to numb themselves. They want to drown their worry. And it's a cycle, and that's what we miss, because you think, okay, if I drink, when I leave work, if I stop at the shop or the or this bar and I drink and I go home staggering, then I don't have to deal with the stresses of life that I'm dealing with. You understand? And it could be a spouse, it could be a parent, it could be a child, it could be a terminal illness, it could be something that's triggering that person to engage in that kind of a behavior. And so we ask the question, when does the cycle break? Really and truly, it's hard to come by. But there is no question that a lot of the alcohol and the drug consumption that we see is because of mental health challenges and deficits. And so people are looking for answers, Godfrey, and sometimes it's hard to come by. It's really hard to come by.
Yes, indeed. 435-2041, that's the number you can call, folks. We have a few more minutes remaining on the program, so you can definitely give us a call if you have any questions. We'll take them now. If not, then we will be getting ready to wrap up for this evening. Well, let's go to the telephone. Here's a call. Doctor and call, good evening.
Yes, good evening, Godfrey.
Good evening.
At that call, and I was told someone you were important more. Can I get now from Mr. Panchoo, please?
Okay. Dr. Panchoo, can you give this caller your number?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's
406.
Okay, caller, you need to turn the volume of your device down because we're not.
Sorry.
Yes, please.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
406 3601.
3601. 406 3601.
Yes.
601.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all the best.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right. And Godfrey, while if we don't have another caller immediately, the previous caller talked about the shelves in the supermarket. And, since we're talking about self-care and et cetera, and diet and all of the other stuff that can cause ailments in the body, Godfrey, I don't know. I don't think that person is calling me. Somebody's calling me right now. They don't understand we're live. They took my number and calling me. That can happen. So, Godfrey, what we have to understand is that there is an adage that says we dig our own grave with our teeth.
Yes. There
is no question. And Godfrey, when I go to the supermarket, things like sugar and pasta and all this stuff, you will not find them in my basket.
Right.
And because I am making a deliberate effort with this refined processed foods to eat more local stuff.
Yes.
And more bush and more greens and more vegetables. And now, these days it's a little more expensive. A pound of rice is $1.75 or $2, right? A pound of rice and a pound of back and neck, $2.50. So for $5, you can go and make a little pilau and eat a whole pound of rice. You understand? That is inexpensive, yes. But when you look at the effects of the health concerns later on in life, you realize you might as well spend $5 to buy some beans and put it in the rice and make it, a little more filled with good stuff for us. And so the caller is right. When you talk about the things that are on the shelf, there are lines and lines. And Godfrey, I am not bashing any nation, but these days you look on the shelves and you see a lot of products, refined products, coming from mainland China.
Oh yes, definitely.
And a lot of these things are really not in our best interest.
Yes, that's true. No, it's a fact. I have no apologies with that.
Yes, we're not spreading anything against any nation, but what we're saying is that you look at it, and you see the wide range of products that are coming, and they're all refined and processed at some, and chemicals had to be placed in them so that they have this long shelf life.
Preservatives and all of that.
I mean, if you have a cookie, Godfrey, when we make cookie, or cake, and we have it there, we eat it out. If you make it Friday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday in hand, none.
That's right.
So none stay in there to get mass. But you have cookies on shelves, and you see the expiration. You buy this and the expiration is 2025. It means that it has think of it, Godfrey. The capacity to last on your shelf for 2 years.
Made properly, it should not last more than about 5 days. 5 days and things like bread and cake and so.
But who makes a cookie or a kiss cake that can last on your shelf or in your cupboard for 2 years? That's America. And it therefore means that it is really not in our interest to consume these products. But then it is filled with sugar and the good stuff that is unhealthy. So when you partake, it whets the appetite and you want some more.
You want more, definitely.
And you want more. And you want more. And I think, Godfrey, that the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council, I must big them up on this program tonight, simply because this program is about health, mental health and physical health. And I think, by and large, the Grenada Food and Nutritional Council, they do a really great job.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Brown and the others. Oh, yes, they do.
Yes, they do. And they come on GBN, I hear them.
Oh, yes.
So.
Well, in fact, just earlier this evening, on our agriculture program, we were talking about food sustainability and the importance of all of that. And we did say that we were going to engage them to come to talk a little bit about ways you can use our local foods to make it more palatable, because I think one of the problems is we just go for this processed imported stuff, and then it impacts us negatively, not just our health, but also our economy, because it affects what our farmers can do. So there is so much, Dr. Panchoo, there is so much to talk about, there is so much to teach, there is so much to put out there so that we all can learn and live better lives and healthier lives and happier lives, as a people, we need to be more open-minded and understand what is important against what we just like. There is a difference.
Very good.
Yeah.
I like how you put it, though.
No, let's take another call. They're coming. Doctoral call. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening to you.
How are you doing?
And not too bad. And good evening to Dr. Panchoo.
Hello.
This piece that you just read out there from that report includes including Grenada, had me calling. And I said to you before, and Dr. Panchoo, that Dr. Panchoo is timely, because you could bear me out that I had been calling for quite some time for the reduction of the stress of the citizens, because I made this observation many, many years ago. As a matter of fact, that was written in the press and communicated to the Ministry of Education, that we should reduce the stress level, because to me, the citizens are losing mental capacity. And when I say mental capacity, I mean that they are losing the ability to take care of themselves and to manage themselves. And that's why I called in recent time, please reduce the stress level, lest we might lose the citizenry. We are in a bad situation, so I had to say this. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, caller. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, Doc, it's almost it's time for us to put a wrap on things. The thing is, discussions like these can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Because there is so much to talk about. There is so much, as I said, there is so much to put out there that we need to learn and we need to understand, and it's all in our best interest. So as we wrap, Doc, let me just ask you to sort of encapsulate quickly what we touched on this evening as it relates to mental health. Yeah.
A summary of tonight. A really great night again, an interactive night with our callers and faithful listeners. We sort of focused tonight on a report from CAFA, which is the Caribbean
Public Health,
Public Health Association. And I was looking, Godfrey, at CAFA because I had never paid attention to their website and to the organization on a whole. But the headquarters in Trinidad, and they do have an office, I think it is in St. Lucia also. But they're made up of the Caribbean CARICOM members. And so there's a whole bunch of people who have signed on to CAFA. And they do a lot of great work. They do, because during the COVID, I remember, Dr. Martin, that they were introducing CAFA, and I never paid attention.
Well, I'll tell you, I made it my duty, and every week I receive a newsletter from CAFA.
Okay, great. Yeah. So they have consultancy for physical health stuff and mental health and families, etc., etc. So they do great work. And so tonight we focus in on Mental Health Day, which was yesterday, 10/10, October 10th. Every year is celebrated as World Mental Health Day, and this year was mental health and well-being, making it a global priority, a priority for global effectiveness. And I think they sent out a list of good things that we can do as citizenry to help promote our own mental health. They talk about relationships, they talk about prioritization in our lifestyle. And so we elucidated it tonight and talk about rest and water and diet and all the good stuff. And my advice to us, if you see someone struggling with a mental health issue, if you see signs and symptoms, look for a professional, make a call, get someone to help that person, Godfrey, and look for something really fun to do to distress in our lives, Godfrey. So if we didn't get a pension on time and you didn't get a job on time, and look for something, Godfrey. Let me end here today. Today I was sharing with a really important person. I didn't have his permission, so I won't call his name. But I was telling him, he was asking, I think it was out of great concern, how are you doing, Dr. Panchoo? Tell me the truth about how you were doing. And I said, you know what? There were a few times, and, I guess he's asking the question based upon my experience of, being terminated. How are you doing? And I said to him, you know what? There were times when I was a little down. There is no question about it. But what kept me going, Godfrey, was my ability now. I remember what it is that I was teaching clients when they come to me. How I was showing them to to reframe the lives happening, how to think outside the box, how to embrace disappointment and turn it into something that is, awesome. And I said to him, you know what? I found myself doing what I was teaching them. I found myself being the client of what it is I've been teaching all along. And that is how I survive. And so sometimes when we meet with lemons, we say, let's make lemonade. Hard times never last long. Tough times never last. Tough people do. So hang in there. And if you have a mental health challenge, look for an avenue to divert your thinking and your way of life to help you ease some of the struggles that we face daily. Thank you, Godfrey, for having me. Look forward again to one of these days. Indeed.
Just before we go, I just want to close by sharing this last part of the release from CAFA. And I think it's important. It says, results of a 2022 study which examined the effect of pandemics and disasters on mental health showed that depression and anxiety persisted for several years after the event among all age groups.
Yes.
The study underscored the need for tailored, sustainable mental health services with special emphasis on children and adolescents in disaster and pandemic affected areas.
Right.
However, in many countries, the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and long COVID, climate change, wars, and other disasters has further affected the ability of the populations to access mental health services. As countries seek to improve the well-being of their populations, intervention should be designed across the life course, targeting the very young to the very old. With the collaboration of various sectors, mental well-being and the prevention of mental and substance-related disorders may be achieved. And to just go back where we started, Dr. Panchoo, and I think it's the ideal way to end, mental illness can affect anyone, any gender, at any age. We, as individuals, need to be kind to ourselves. We need to find balance in our lives to reduce the risk of mental illness and achieve mental well-being. That includes identifying priorities, maintaining good self-care routine, choosing a healthy lifestyle, positive thinking, practicing gratitude, building solid relationships, and mindfulness or taking time to do something we enjoy. There is no health without mental health. Dr. Panchoo,
thank you. That's a way to end.
I thank you so very much, again. And of course, as you mentioned, what the gentleman asked you, the point is, I'm not worried about you. Here you are, ever so often on the media, imparting knowledge, sharing information. That's why you did what you did.
Yeah.
That's what you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks. That's our program this evening. And continue, folks, to take care of your mental well-being. Is very important. Join me tomorrow. It's Release It. Yeah. So we have things to talk about. I don't know if Dr. Panchoo can join me tomorrow or Thursday, but nevertheless, one of those days, he's going to be here. All right?
Yeah, maybe Thursday.
Yes, indeed. So thank you, folks. Do have a good night. All the best.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Measles, diabetes, AIDS, cancer.
The Doctor and Call was brought to you with the kind compliments of Antillean Life Insurance, Hills and Valley Pharmacy, and Spice Isle Imaging Center.
Believe in our strength.